The 21 fights before that, it was all happy days, sunshine, rainbows, you name it. As soon as a bit of controversy, and you got to remember it was a draw, it wasn't even a loss. The only message I got was a message from my mum telling me she's proud. I had to grow up very quick. I had a good childhood, and then my old man got arrested, went inside. I was boxing for a bit, and then I stopped because I had to pay the bills. Growing up in the gym, I used to see Southern Area champions, English champions. It happened so fast, you forget there were even your dreams and aspirations once. I remember it was all lining up to go out for the press conference. No one knew who the captain was. Frank come over, he goes, "You're the captain." And I looked behind, and I thought it was the bar. So I looked at him, I go, "Oh, congratulations." And Frank goes, "No," he goes, "You." And I was like, "Oh shit, okay, here we go." The people I had around me, instead of being there, it was sending me the invoices for them to get paid. Do you know what I mean? So I'm to blame for it all. There's one quote that stuck out at me, was, "How can I blame the wind for the mess it made when I was the one who opened the window?"
You got a new team, Andy Lee. Why Andy?
I've watched Andy quite a few times, being a middleweight, being a world champion. Watched him train, and I liked what I saw when we got on. And I feel like he can definitely add a lot to my game, and someone I see myself finishing my career with.
Your next fight, Edgar Berlanga.
Yep. And someone who's dangerous, someone who's a puncher, but someone who I'm going to beat. And it'll put me back right at the top.
Finish the sentence. In 18 months, I'll be
fighting.
Hello and welcome back to First Round TV. And I've just said I'm so excited about this guest because when we started First Round TV, this is one of the first people that I wanted to have on. It's Hamzah Sheeraz. Hamzah, thank you very, very much for joining me on First Round TV. I am thrilled, as I say. Excuse the attire. I've been playing golf.
You pull it off, don't worry.
Very, very badly. I'm not as smart as you, mate. Do you play golf?
No, never.
Never.
I plan on playing. Maybe in a few months, I think I'll start.
I bet you could hit a ball a mile.
I'll have a go.
Yeah.
I'll give it a good go anyway.
Right. When Sergio Martinez once said, "When I finished my fight with Chavez Jr., I had 1,060 missed calls. When I lost my fight against Cotto, I had 4 missed calls. 1 was from an unknown caller and 3 was from my mother." Has anything similar happened with you since the draw with Adames?
Exactly that. I swear to God, exactly that. It's crazy. And you can't resonate with quotes like that unless you've been in them situations. You know what I mean? It's all well and good reading them and you think, "Oh yeah, that's sad." But when you're actually experiencing it and when you've been in it and you're kind of a product of that environment, which I was, it's like, all right, fuck, this is reality. This is like the 21 fights before that, it was all happy days, sunshine, rainbows, you name it. As soon as a bit of controversy, and you got to remember it was a draw, it wasn't even a loss.
Yeah.
And I still had that reaction from people. I think the only message I got was a message from my mum telling me she's proud. And then I actually got a message on Instagram from Tony Bellew, nice message as well, just saying, "Listen, get back to the drawing board. This is boxing." So yeah, that was I appreciate that message a lot. The rest of it was pure abuse, to be fair.
Serious?
Yeah, crazy, bro, crazy. And that was it. It was it was interesting. It was definitely interesting.
Wow.
But life, innit?
Right. We'll get back onto that.
Yep.
We're going to go back first before we go forward, and we'll catch back up with that. Slough born, Ilford bred.
Yep.
Good childhood. How was it growing up?
It was good. It was good. I had to grow up very quick. Very quick. I started when I walked in the gym when I was 8 years old. From about 8 till 13, everything was cushy. Everything was, I was fighting, I was growing up well, I had a good childhood, and then my old man got arrested, went inside for a few years, and them years were they're the years in which you need your father. Do you know what I mean? As a youngster, you need your father, and I didn't have him around at the time, hence why I had to mature very quickly. I would see my mum struggling to pay bills, struggling to get shopping. And yeah, there was definitely a rough patch. But I always say now that kind of experience and that adversity I went through as a child has made me the man I am today. Why I think the way I think, why I act the way I act, and why I kind of am where I am.
Do you, when fights get tough, do you think those moments there, that's the boxing's not really tough, but what you went through there, that's tough. That's
tough.
hard.
Yeah, that is.
And
I didn't realize it at the time because you're a youngster. You don't.
Yeah.
It's only now I look back upon it and I think that's like I do certain things and I realize I'm doing it because of how I was then. Do you know what I mean? Being like, what was I, 15, 16, having to pay the house bills. I was boxing for a bit and then I stopped because I had to pay the bills.
Right.
I wasn't earning nothing from boxing at the time because I was an amateur still. So I had to kind of stop that for about a year and work, graft £200 a week I was earning. And that was just about letting our house have food and eat. So it was, quite, it was quite tough, but like I said, it made me who I am today.
So you was working whilst you were at school.
Yep. Yep.
So where did the boxing come along?
So the boxing, I was, like I said, 8 years old when I walked into the gym.
Yep.
8 till about 15, 16, I stopped. Because like I said, I needed to get a job. So I was become a apprenticeship sparky. I was doing that, like I said, £200 a week. Doing that for about just over a year or just under a year.
Right.
And then my old man come out. He started working again, and then it was all right. I can get back boxing now, and then walked into 5-star gym again, where I had my amateur career, and then they asked me to spar some pros, and then that is where kind of my pro journey began with Dominic Negus, and at the time I was sparring Boy Jones Jr. when I was a lot lighter. Yeah. So it was when I look back on it now, it's crazy how it all happened. It happened all in the space of about a week.
Why boxing though? How did boxing come about?
It was my uncle was a boxer, so it was in the family. My dad's younger brother. I think 8, 9-time national champion back in the day. So he done well. He done very well. And then I'd always hear stories of his boxing when I was growing up, and I thought, you know what, let me just give it a go. And then I walked into a gym, and then the rest was history.
Yeah. How many national titles did you win?
None.
So straight.
None. Yep. I got to a few national finals.
Yeah.
Had a few England box-offs, box cups. No big titles.
Wow.
Yeah.
How many amateur fights you have?
I had about 100 odd. Yeah, 100 odd. So yeah, it's quite intense.
What was so you turned pro, you're in the gym, you're sparring. What were the ambitions back there? Like you say, didn't win a national title.
Yeah.
What was there any goals there?
The goal was to become a professional boxer, and that was it.
Was it
Yeah,
really?
I swear to you. That's why when people talk about now and my last fight, that's why I always say, listen, my first goal was to just become a professional boxer and have a debut, and like, oh yeah, that was it. And then when I done that, when I fought at the Copper Box under the Billy Joe Saunders undercard, it was like, yeah, this is serious now. And then it was, honestly, I had no real ambitions really. Obviously, yeah, you want to be a world champion, you want to be a celebrity, you want to be known, you want to be famous, but it was just to turn pro, and that was it. Yeah,
really?
that was it. Yeah.
So that was 16th of September 2017. You stopped Dwayne Green.
Yeah.
Billy Joe Saunders. But who else was on the undercard? Do you know? There was
Dubois.
two. Yes,
He was on it.
Yeah.
Dubois was on it. Who else?
Give you one more name.
I remember Dubois, and I don't remember
Anthony Yard.
Oh yes.
A few more on there, but Anthony Yard was on there.
Yeah.
I think it was really your 10th fight that you probably your first step up. You fought Ryan Kelly for the WBO European title. You stopped him in the 6th. But by the way, that's aged well.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
You see how he's doing now?
Ryan Kelly's doing well. I mean, he lost a close fight to Kevin Najako recently.
Yeah.
It's a really good fight. Picking up that title, and a WBO European nonetheless, but still, your dreams of just turning pro, and now you're winning a title, things are going along nicely.
That's where I kind of that was my first moment in the professional game where I thought, okay, I could potentially do something here.
Really?
Yeah. Because I remember I was absolutely shitting myself before the fight. Because I remember being in like a big fight like that, and it was like I was thinking, cool, I've just got comfortable with being in a ring with journeyman, and now I've got a guy who's actually, I think he had one loss at the time, a few knockouts and whatnot. So yeah, that was kind of like a good pivotal moment in my professional career.
What were you thinking though? Like British title? I could win a British title. Could win a
Do you know
European.
what? I swear to God, it was like, it sounds mad, but it was more like Southern area English.
Do you know it's mad?
And I didn't even win.
Because, you know, like we've seen this mad rise where you've destroyed everyone. I think to loads, people would probably think you had this glittering amateur
and that's
career,
what they think,
and
yeah.
you know, I've been destined for stardom, but it's unbelievable, really. You know, very modest ambitions.
Yeah. I think that's what I used to see growing up in the gym. I used to see Southern area champions, English champions.
Same.
And that was, to me, that was like, wow, this is it. Like, this is where I want to get to. And then I kind of skipped that because I went straight to the WBO European.
Yeah.
So when I skipped that and then I started fighting for the Commonwealth and whatnot, it happened so fast you forget there were even your dreams and aspirations once.
That's mad. You then beat Paul Keane, Guido Pito, Ezekiel Guerrero before the controversial night with Bradley Skeet. Point taken off for hitting him low, and then you beat him with the next round.
Yeah.
What do you remember about the fight? Because that's a step up as well. Bradley Skeet, he fought my brother in the amateurs. You know, really, really good fighter. What's your memories on that?
Well, I remember that was like I said, a massive, massive learning experience because I underestimated him a lot because I thought, I'm not in with a puncher here. I can just get away with trying to just spark him and that's it, happy days. And I learned a lot from it. I learned a lot because if you look at the fights after that, I kind of progressed a lot as well. And in terms of dealing once again with social media backlash and whatnot, that was my first kind of taste of it. But yeah, massive learning experience in my career.
Any regrets with it? It's hard, isn't it? You know, when you're in the moment, a lot of people think, he's out of order, this and that. It was late.
Yeah.
The shot was late. But you're kind of in if I think back when I'm in a fight, you're in a kind of a trance.
Yeah, you are.
Sometimes you forget, and I know this sounds mad, and this comes with experience, but you almost forget the rules. You're in some mad, like, hypnotic state sometimes.
Yeah, you're in a zone, aren't you? You're in a zone, and once you're in that zone, it's very, very hard to, like you said, remember everything else. So it was, I was in that zone.
Yeah. Again, at that point there, is it still thinking, modest
point
titles,
was like,
are you now? I'm so intrigued to know the mindset.
Yeah, I tell you, at that point, I was thinking, all right, cool, I could have potentially reached a limit here because I'm meant to be walking through guys like this. And then I kind of stepped back a few kind of pegs and I thought, what have I done? And for that was the weight that kind of killed me there. The weight was killing me.
Really?
Yeah, that was my last fight, 154 pounds.
Of course it was, yeah.
So then once I made the move up, I kind of got back on track again.
Yeah, well, you did 5 stoppage wins on the spin. You picked up the WBC silver title, which is a proper title now. You know, if you're going to class these as ranking belts, that's one that gets you right up there. One of those victories was against the former British champion, Liam Williams. You destroy him as well. Yeah. Albeit, he was coming to the end of his career, but still. Mindset and where your aspiration, what you thought you could get to, then you must be thinking, hold on a minute, this is getting a little bit too easy.
Yeah,
what's happening?
You know, it wasn't that. It was, I thought I'd beat Liam maybe a late stoppage, but a unanimous points win. Honestly, I swear to God, I thought because he's tough and he was strong, experienced and whatnot. So I thought, all right, I'll get him maybe late or a points win, and then I done that, and then it was like, all right, cool. I think like I can win a world title with.
Yeah, right. So that
was the point.
Right, that's the point.
That's the point. Yeah.
That's the point. That's the point. The next big one, and I'm intrigued again to know how you're thinking with this. This was massive, and it was groundbreaking, wasn't it? This 5v5, Eddie versus Frank, in Saudi Arabia. You got the big boom, which I want to ask you about in a bit, and you're selected to be the captain.
Yeah,
you know, this is a big thing. I know Eddie and Frank have resolved their differences and they're getting on, and it's brilliant for the sake of boxing. But you know, they're very competitive and they didn't want to lose.
Yeah, this is pride on the line.
This is
history on the line.
And then you're given this huge amount of pressure to be the team captain against an unbeaten fighter, an American who was touted to go on and be a world champion from probably early stages in his career.
Yeah.
What was the thoughts going into that?
So in terms of the captaincy, I remember it was all lining up to go out for the press conference. No one knew who the captain was. Frank come over. He goes, "You're the captain." And I looked behind. And I thought it was Dubois. So I looked at him. I go, "Oh, congratulations." And Frank goes, "No." He goes, "You." And I was like, "Oh shit." I go, "Here we go." I go, "That's even more added pressure, innit? As if this ain't enough pressure." But it helped me a lot in camp, to be fair, because then every time it would get hard. I think, listen, he's putting his belief in me.
Yeah.
I've got that. Listen, even if it's tight going into, then I'll get a knockout. It's an extra 5 points that could put us in the lead, innit? So it was interesting because I remember in the changing room before we was 2-0 up, weren't we? And that kind of it helped. So yeah, shout out to Nick Ball and Willie Hutchinson.
Right, hope you're enjoying the pod. Big news: we have a sponsor. And it's something I use personally myself all the time. We are always on the move. Fight weeks, press tours, international events, and one thing I never mess with is public Wi-Fi. That's why I've got NordVPN. It keeps everything locked up. Bank info, logins, emails, all protected wherever I go. Plus, the best part, when I'm traveling, it's nice being able to access the stuff I'd normally stream at home. Shows, news, or live sports coverage, all without hassle. It's quick, covers 10 devices, and it's honestly one of the best value tools out there. At £2.39 a month, it's cheaper than a cup of coffee. To get the best discount off your NordVPN plan, go to nordvpn.com/first round, and our link will give you 4 extra months on the 2-year plan. And there's no risk with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. The link is in the description below. We're extremely grateful for all the support we've had so far. And sponsors like this help us continue to bring you the best content in the boxing industry. And now, back to the podcast.
Yeah. What did you think of that concept?
It was good. I enjoyed it. It was new. It was different. Brought a lot of new eyes to boxing. Because even when I'd be like walking down the street and whatnot, people are like, "Oh, you're representing Frank in the 5 versus 5 and whatnot." So in terms of kind of how much it attracted the casuals, it changed the dynamics a lot as well. And especially fighting on His Excellency's card for the first time, it was pretty surreal experience.
What about Ammo Williams as a fighter? He shook you, didn't he, early?
Yeah, I said it today. He's the hardest puncher I've been in with.
Serious?
Yeah, he's the hardest puncher I've been in with. He could crack, and I had to be on my A game for that. And I was, and I got the win.
Again, belief must be through the roof. I want to just touch as we're on it.
Yeah.
His Excellency's involvement in boxing and how it's going. I know you're one of the ambassadors, is it, for Riyadh season?
Yeah.
You must be thrilled and so excited to be a big part of this big boom in boxing.
Yeah, massively. I can't thank him enough, to be fair. Can't thank him enough. Especially now where you said like boxing's kind of gone back to how it used to be. Back in the old days where the best fight the best. You've always got good cards. The undercards could be all main events. And everyone's putting it on the line. You know what I mean? Everyone's putting it on the line. And I've kind of understood that concept now as well. So win, lose or draw, it don't matter. You whatever fight you have next, as long as you've done yourself justice, you're straight back into another big one. So absolutely honoured.
What's when you sit down and you speak to His Excellency, his passion for boxing?
Yeah, people underestimate how knowledgeable he is. They think he's just this powerhouse who's come into boxing and took over. He's not only done that, he's bossed it, but with knowledge as well.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of knowledge, and he knows what he's doing. You know what I mean? He knows what he's doing. He's putting all these great matchups together. And like I said, if you asked every fighter now, it's kind of the dream environment and the dream sport to be in right now.
Oh, massively. Look, I think you'll agree. Boxing has always stood the test of time.
Yep.
You know, when there's a bit, look, it has its, I don't know if you want to call them rivals or not, like UFC, MMA, whatever you want to say, but when there's a big boxing fight, the world stands still.
Yeah, everyone's tuned
that
in.
hits the back pages of
everyone's
the
dialed in. Yeah.
And he's obviously a great asset now for boxing moving forward. You know, it's fantastic. Right, you then on another massive card, this time at Wembley Stadium.
Yeah.
What are nerves like? You're fighting Tyler Denny, right? And I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure you must have been going into that fight confident. No
Very
disrespect
confident.
to Tyler
Yeah.
Denny.
Yeah, no, yeah.
A tough, rugged European champion. Lots of belief.
Yeah.
Tons of confident in the performances that he'd had of late. But how was it dealing with that moment in front of them, those thousands of people at the national stadium?
You know what it was? That was meant to be, the Adamas fight was meant to be then. And then,
Was it really?
Yeah, and then that fell through. And then Tyler Denny come off a career best performance against Felix Cash.
Right.
And then it was kind of one of them fights that was meant to be. And that's what it happened. And like I said, that camp was it was a unique experience for me because you go in the fight expected, blast them out, just expected to. And when you have that added pressure, you always got to remind yourself that that you could still get knocked out.
Yeah.
It only takes a certain amount of pressure
Boxing, right?
you know what I mean? To get knocked out. So that was kind of, it was different. It's like the flip side. You know, normally you're fighting someone who's dangerous and you're switched on. But this was kind of the other way around, and I stayed switched on and I got the job done.
You must have been buzzing though.
Yeah, it was.
Know what I mean?
It was. I wasn't ecstatic, to be fair. It was, I think, more the experience and fighting in Wembley, which kind of was the buzz more than anything else.
You stripped the title away from the champ.
Yeah.
You know, I know it's another box tick there. You know, when you think back of what your ambitions were.
I know, it's mad, isn't it?
You know, and for me, sometimes I feel like the European title gets overlooked a little bit. You know, still she's the champion of Europe.
Yeah.
You know, when you think you're looking at trying to pick up a southern area title,
just your local area,
and you've exactly, and you've done it in front, you know, of thousands of people in National Stadium. You must have been buzzing.
Yeah, especially when you're touted to go on and win world titles and dominate. When you win these other titles, they get overlooked. Do you know what I mean? They get overlooked, and it's like you're almost expected to win them, and they almost mean nothing. But
what about that then? So you win the European title, that elevates you. I think I'm led to believe you're in the top 10 in every governing body at this point. You are looked at as the next sort of flag bearer for British boxing, really and truly. When you look at it, you know, the marquee guys at the top of that division, AJ Furies, are all coming to the end, looking for his next stars. How are you dealing with that kind of fame, attention, and pressure at that time?
It was different because, like you said, when I come from having the aspirations of winning Southern area titles, English titles, and I won't say chucked in because I earned it, but when you're kind of in this new environment of limelight and everyone touting you to be the next best thing, I don't want to say you get carried away, but you get comfortable and you get complacent, and you don't. What I've learned was from my last fight that you have to level up. You have to level up, and I think what happened with me, I wouldn't say it's complacent, but I got comfortable. Like I said, I got too comfortable.
Mentally,
yeah. Mentally too comfortable. And because it was, like you said, you got to remember where I've come from to where I've got to. It was different, and the people I had around me at the time as well. I'm not saying it was their responsibility to kind of make me not think like that, but make it easier for me to stay hungry. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
To remind me. And I didn't have that.
Yeah.
I didn't have that. I had people around me telling me, you're the next best thing, this, that, the other. I had the wrong people around me, and it's as simple as that.
Yeah, I mean, you're only human though.
Yeah.
I guess in some respects, we're going to move on to your last fight. But, you know, when you're still kind of, I guess, and this is not a slight in any way, you're still kind of mentally immature, really.
Yeah.
You know, you're still dealing with a lot of experience that are coming your way.
Yeah.
So going into a big fight like Carlos Adames in Saudi again, finally fighting for the world title.
Yeah.
Nervous? Or, I mean, where's your mind at this point? Because like I say, you're touted for big things. You're touted for big things for a reason.
Yeah.
But you're in there with a solid world champion. Champ. Where are you at?
What it was with this is I wouldn't say pressure, but I put too much expectation on myself, which kind of messed me up mentally going into the fight. Whereas the fights before that, it'd be do what you do, stick to the game plan, don't worry about what's on the line, and just crack on. This fight, it was, world title, this is it. This will kind of define who you are. And that's where I went wrong.
Really?
I let the outcome of the fight, I let what was at stake kind of define who I was, what I was doing in training, and how I was thinking. So I learned a lot from it. Definitely learned a lot from it. Yeah, for sure.
Did you feel more pressure than going into that fight? Was you more tense? Was you more nervous?
I was
than usual?
more tense, definitely more tense. I wasn't nervous, but I was definitely more tense. And that's because of how I was thinking going into the fight. Do you know what I mean? And not to blame anyone because I'm only myself to blame, but I felt like there was a lot of inexperience there,
Right.
a lot of inexperience, and I could feel that energy. Do you know what I mean? I was going in there with a solid world champion, and kind of what I was getting was you have to box, be wary, be wary. And then I've never fought like that before, and automatically you're going into a fight straight away on the defense.
Yeah. Like for me, listening to that,
Mm.
someone like you you've naturally got that bit of spite and that aggression, it does feel like it was the wrong thing because, again, I could go off on one here,
Yeah.
but I always remember my dad telling me, I may have said it on one of the previous pods as well,
Yeah.
my dad telling me when I was younger, don't worry about losing. Don't worry about losing. You go out there, do your
You
thing.
do your best,
Fight to
yeah.
win. Don't fight to not to lose.
Mm.
And I'll be honest, I sat there watching you, I'm commentating,
Yeah.
and it seemed like you was holding back a little bit.
Yeah.
And I had an element of frustration there because the same thing happened to me when I fought Sergio Martinez, who I mentioned at the top of this. I was holding back thinking, hold on a minute, he's the world champion, he's this legend.
Yeah.
In a minute, he's going to show me something that a world champion does. And I just didn't, I was worried about him, worried maybe is the wrong word.
Yeah.
A little bit
Wary.
apprehensive,
Yeah.
wary
yeah.
of doing my thing because of what may come back.
Yeah.
Was that similar?
was-
Do you think you was fighting not to lose as opposed to fighting to really to win?
It was that as well, but it was drilled in me to kind of. It was drilled in me to be wary. Do you know what I mean? It was drilled in me like you got to watch what he's doing. You got to watch. I was watching him rather than myself.
Yeah.
And that's where I went wrong. It's definitely where I went wrong. But like I said, only myself to blame.
Yeah, I mean, you finished the fight strong though.
Yeah.
I mean, again, you must take confidence away thinking if I would have started the fight faster.
Exactly, that's what it was, yeah.
And just kind of listen to myself a little bit.
I would have done, yeah, exactly. And yeah, that's why now I look back on it, and for like the 2-3 weeks after the fight, I was like, just didn't want to leave my room, like just
Serious.
Yeah, seriously down. It was like I said, it was a new environment, new grounds of I hadn't been on before. So I had to like kind of get to terms with it. Like I said, shitload of abuse on social media again. So it was all new again. It was all new. You're going from here to here. Do you know what I mean? And yeah, it was something I definitely needed, though. In all honesty, something I definitely needed.
You're not one to make excuses.
Yeah.
But hand injury early in the fight. Was it?
4th or 5th round.
Really?
4th
So
or 5th
that's
round.
a nightmare.
Yeah, exactly. But then, like I said, I was thinking about it as well. A couple of weeks after, when I got a bit more clarity, it's boxing. These things happen. I'm not the first person this happened to. I should have adapted a lot quicker, but I didn't. So yeah, moving forwards, if God forbid it ever does happen again, I can now switch into gear and just like shut it off.
I think a lot of people forget that it was a draw. You didn't lose.
Yeah.
But in your mind, did it feel like a loss?
100%, because you're fighting for the world title, and a draw means you don't win the belt. So
Yeah.
as far as I'm concerned, the way I went about it, the way I took it was a loss. You know what I mean? Because I didn't have the belt. But yeah, an interesting experience and an interesting place to be. But it's definitely 1,000,000% matured me as a person.
And you mentioned it at the top, a big backlash.
Yeah, massive. But the backlash I'm not too worried about, because everyone's entitled to their own opinion, and that's what makes the boxing world go around, to be fair. But I think what kind of didn't sit right with me was the people I had around me. Instead of, I wouldn't, not comfort me because I don't need that, but instead of like being there, it was sending me the invoices for them to get paid. Do you know what I mean? So
Right.
straight away, like the next week, you get invoice after invoice after invoice. So yeah, it was a harsh reality. But then at the end of the day, it's like the reason why I always say I'm to blame for it all, because there's one quote that stuck out at me, was, how can I blame the wind for the mess it made when I was the one who opened the window? So, and that's exactly what I stick by in this kind of experience of my life. So
Yeah.
it's me, and I've made the necessary change. That's the main thing. As long as you learn from it and as long as you make the necessary changes that not only develop me as a fighter, but as a person as well, I should be good.
Fresh start.
Yeah.
Fresh start now.
Definitely.
So 2 new changes. You got a new team,
Yep.
Andy Lee.
Yep.
Why Andy?
He was someone when I sat down with my team. When I say team, my father and my advisor, Adil, we sat down and went through a few names. And then I've watched Andy quite a few times, being a middleweight, being a world champion. So I thought, let's get in touch with him and go and see him out in Ireland. And met him, watched him train, and I liked what I saw when we got on.
Yeah.
And I feel like he can definitely add a lot to my game and someone I see myself finishing my career with.
How much time have you spent with Andy?
Not too long. I spent a couple of hours. I watched about 2 hours in the gym, and then we sat down for 2 hours. So it was in 2 different environments.
Yeah.
But yeah, not a sound guy.
And a new weight class again.
Yeah.
And it doesn't surprise me the size of you. Honestly, I always say to you, I know. I don't know. 154 is beyond me, but 160 even surprises me. But you must be excited about the new challenge at 168.
Yeah, no, for sure, and definitely a lot more natural for me. And I should have been at it maybe 2 or 3 fights ago, but where I was getting early knockouts and where I was putting myself in a position with every fight to fight for a world title, I had no choice but to make the weight until I do get that title shot. And like I said, moving up, and I'm looking forward to it. Good challenges ahead.
Yeah, and do you think, you was on a 15 KO streak before the Adames fight. Do you think you can have that same sort of impact at 168 pounds?
Yeah, 1,000,000%.
Yeah.
I mean, I know I can punch at the end of the day. Definitely know I can punch. And 168, it is a whole new kind of beast of a weight category. Do you know, when you look at the fighters in there and you look at 90% of the punches fighters in there, all big punches, all scoring big knockouts. But then again, I said to my team as well and my promoter and whatnot, I said, listen, I don't want to kind of build myself up at 168 again. In the era of boxing we're in now, with His Excellency's backing, put me in big fights. Put me straight in big fights. I believe in myself. Even though now I'm kind of in not a predicament, but I'm in a place where everyone just kind of like, yeah, whatever now. He's had his chance and he kind of failed. For me, it's like the best place for me to be because there's no expectations, and I know going into my next fight that I'll be a different man.
Look at the segue there. Perfect. Yeah. Your next fight is 168 pounds, as we say, against Edgar Berlanga. Exactly what you just said there. You're going into a big fight, a massive fight straight away. What's your thoughts on that one?
Against someone who's dangerous, someone who's a puncher, someone who's a legitimate 168 pounder, but someone who I'm going to beat. It's not a case of who I think I'm going to beat, someone I'm going to beat. And it'll put me back right at the top. Put me back right at the top. One of the big names in 168 pounds, but a challenge that I'm looking forward to. I mean, a challenge I'm really, really, really looking forward to, because after my last fight and in the headspace I am now, I feel like I'm unbeatable.
Yeah. You fighting Berlanga out in the US. Are we seeing you sort of step away from fighting in the UK? Is that something?
I wouldn't say so.
No?
I wouldn't say so, because as long as I get the opportunity to fight here, I'm fighting here.
Right.
Simple as that.
Right.
As long as, because listen, there's nothing like the UK boxing fans. Fighting here is unreal. The love and support you get from them as well. And British boxing is different, isn't it?
Could we see Hamzah Sheeraz, once he beats Edgar Berlanga, face Canelo at Wembley Stadium?
You know, never say never. Never say never. That's definitely one of my aspirations. And I'd be a fool not to aim to fight Canelo, especially now I'm in his weight category. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, definitely aiming for the top.
How mad though to be mentioned?
Crazy, isn't it? Crazy. Someone who
you go all the way back there.
Yeah.
Back to that start. You've got to be proud of yourself. You must be so proud of where you come, what you do, and what you're coping with, and where you're at. Yeah.
At the end of the day, listen, it was not more, but when I kind of realised I could make a living from it, my first stop was to retire my mum from my job. Done that.
Yeah,
paid a mortgage off. You know what? kind of the boxer's protocol is when you start earning money. And that's kind of that makes me more proud than anything else. You know what I mean? That makes me more proud than anything else. But now I've kind of done that. Now you can set yourself new goals inside and outside the ring to achieve.
Just stepping away from boxing for very quickly, you're a big fan of drill music. But I only found out about, when did we start? About half hour ago what drill music was. I didn't have a clue. I swear. I'm an old 42-year-old.
But to be fair, it all depends on my mood. Like, one day I'll be listening to drill music. One day I'll be listening to Frank Sinatra. Then I'll be listening to Punjabi music. Then Spanish music. I'm all over the place.
I can hear a drill throughout this, actually. Is that? That's not drill music, is it? Big fan of Morrison.
Yep.
You got some of... I mean, you've had some really good ring walks, haven't you?
Yeah.
Are they pre-planned? Are they really thought about, or
not really? It just kind of happens, isn't it? It just kind of happens. I'll be in the gym listening to a song, and I feel like it gets me going, and then we just reach out to the artist. But yeah, Morrison ring walk was good in Wembley. It was definitely a good buzz, and yeah, he likes his boxing as well, so it kind of made sense.
Yeah, right, okay. That's my driller, and that's my brethren.
Yeah.
What's a driller and what's a brethren?
Brethren is brother. Driller is someone who kind of is like your ride or die, is with you no matter what.
A driller. I've got a house on my wrist and my necklace.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
The watch is equivalent of what a house would be. Same goes for the necklace.
No cap, she's a ride or die. What does cap mean?
No bullshit.
No bullshit.
It's interesting, isn't it? This new lingo. It's definitely interesting.
I wonder if like one day when we're doing, like
the thing is, I understand it all, but I don't speak like that.
I wonder if you'll be able to do your predicted tech as drill. So when you get a word wrong and it does it drill for you.
That'd be funny, wouldn't it?
Imagine you said it. The hood's gone mad, fam. The hood's gone bonkers. I think I know that.
Yeah. That's a bit self.
Hood. Yeah, that's obvious. I know that one. Arc your back and bend it like Beckham. Bend it like Beckham.
I'll let the viewers.
It's the first time. It's the first time I've read that.
God, I'll let the viewers kind of figure that one out.
I mean, I'm giggling because I think I've clocked what it is. Right, back to the boxing. What's your thoughts on Usyk Dubois?
Great fight.
Yeah.
Great fight. You got to look at the momentum Dubois had. Dubois on the self-belief must be through the roof.
Yeah.
And the same with Usyk, to be fair. Unbeaten. Dominating. It's going to be... I reckon it's going to be a very, very interesting fight. And I feel like it's going to be more of a chess match than anything else.
Do you think so?
Yeah. I feel like it's going to be more of a chess match than anything else. I don't see Dubois going in there trying to blast him out.
But can Dubois outbox Usyk?
No, I don't think so. No, he couldn't.
So
I think this one comes down to tactics. It'll come down to who wants it more, really. But yeah, definitely interesting.
Was it low? Wasn't it low?
I didn't think it was low.
You didn't?
No, I didn't.
Right, so I'm saying it's low.
Yeah, no, I didn't think it was low, but it was like, it was funny, wasn't it?
Right, my thing is, that protector's that big. A lot of people think it's just a low blows, you're getting hit in the bollocks.
Yeah.
But it's not that area. Look, if that area was really protected,
but that's the thing with me.
We'd all have 12 packs.
Yeah, true. So I class a low blow as actually getting hit directly in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But say you got whacked there.
Yeah.
And you was really struggling.
Yeah.
And you lost that weight.
Yeah. It's
I get it. I reckon there's 100 refs.
Yeah.
50 are gonna say
that's it. It's a split one, isn't it? It is 50-50. It's all a matter of opinion.
Does Joseph Parker deserve that shot more?
He does.
Do you think so?
Yeah, I think he does. I think he definitely does. And I think he'll get it. I know, even though he ain't got it now, just consistency is key, innit, at the end of the day. And I think he'll get his shot. He'll 100% get his shot.
We usually finish with this, but I want to quickly throw it in now.
Yeah.
What's your Mount Rushmore of boxing?
Anyone.
Yeah, you're
Yeah, I've got Hagler, Marvin Hagler. I've got Hearns. I've got Canelo, and I've got, who do I put? Inui, or do I put? Yeah, I'm gonna go with Inui.
Yeah.
Two modern and two past.
Do you know who the first holder of the IBF middleweight world title was?
John.
Marvin Hagler.
Oh, was he?
Yeah. I met Marvin Hagler, and I don't know if he's black.
Was you champion when you met him?
Yeah.
Was you champion? Did you win the belt when you met him?
No, I thought you saying was he champion?
No, you.
No, I wasn't. I'd lost it.
Oh.
But
No, but you'd won the belt.
he was aware of who I was because he said because I was the first, and I couldn't believe it. When he first said it to me, he goes, "I know, I've heard your name." I'm thinking,
yeah,
he's just saying it, he's being polite. But then he explained why. He said, because I was the first holder of the IBF title, I always was. That was always precious to me, and I've always kept tabs on who had that world title. Yeah. So he obviously, I don't think he knew who I was to look at or anything, but he'd heard of the name.
Yeah.
Who's the best fighter you've sparred with?
There was this. I think he's a middleweight or super middleweight from the Philippines. He went to the Olympics. I can't remember his name, but someone will when they hear this.
Yeah.
He was a southpaw. I totally forgot his name, but I remember sparring him at the Wildcard gym, and I thought, yeah, this is serious. This is what boxing's about. And I don't think he was even pro then. But yeah, him. And I'll try.
We've got to find that name. Anyone out in the comments, you know who this fighter is, let us know. Who's the biggest hitter? Sparred or fight?
I'll give you both. Fighting was Ammo Williams, as I said, and sparring. I don't really know. There ain't been no one who's really like whacked me, and I thought, oh, here we go.
Lucky.
Yeah, and I've sparred like a lot of names. You know what I mean? I've sparred a lot. I've been all over around the gyms in LA. Yeah, no. In sparring, I'd be lying if I picked someone.
Really?
Yeah.
All right, finish the sentence. In 18 months, I'll be
fighting Canelo Alvarez.
Yeah. What's the one thing you'd change in boxing?
One thing I'd change. What I would change, I'd put a rule in place that any of the judges would have to have fought some kind of form of combat sports in their life.
Yeah.
Yep. That's what I'd change.
Good shout.
Yep. Because some of these scorecards nowadays are a bit crazy, and when you've kind of got someone who's been in there, even if it's an amateur fight or whatever, just experienced it, I think that's pretty fair to say.
Do you think what's your opinion on this AI judging? Is there a place for it?
I don't know. I don't see it doing any harm. But in an ideal world, I'd have ex fighters being judges.
Yeah.
More of a valid kind of opinion in it and judgment.
How long, just quickly, I just thought about Canelo then. How long do you think he's got left in the game?
I'd say about 3 years.
Yeah.
Say 3 years.
10 years time.
Yeah. Plenty of time.
In your opinion, what's more important right now, honestly?
Yep.
Legacy, titles, I'll put that in the same bracket, or money?
I'd say money.
Yeah?
Yep. Because my reason is, when it's all said and done, I'd still want to have done well from boxing financially. Because you got loads of ex-world champions now who have been great fighters, but financially they're where they was when they started boxing. And especially it being so brutal, you want to get something from it where when it's all said and done, you're living comfortably. You've kind of reaped the rewards of them hard, grueling training camps, the sacrifice. The sacrifice you kind of take. Yeah, the sacrifice you do from your family, you can give back in other ways financially as well. Do you know what I mean?
And I guess as well, like your ambitions, I totally understand your answer there, because you've far surpassed sort of your early ambitions in the sport.
Yep.
You know what I mean? You just wanted to turn professional.
And you get most fighters sitting here lying to you saying, oh, world titles, this, that, the other. But that's an honest answer from me.
Yeah. Who do you think, and you can say it'll be you, in 2 years' time, is there anybody you think could be the new face of boxing?
In 2 years' time?
Yeah. Is there anyone out there that you think he or she's the governor?
I'd say up and coming, Moses.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with you there.
Yeah, I feel like, especially being so young at heavyweight, do you know what I mean? He's got the world at his feet.
Mad, isn't it?
Crazy.
So good.
And he's really talented as well, man. Unbelievably talented. I think he's up there for sure.
Yeah, I would go along with that.
Yep.
And Hamzah Sheeraz, of course. It's mad to think, like, what was it, May 18? He could beat Tyson's record. I mean, it doesn't look like that would happen now.
Yeah.
It just shows you.
But even if he doesn't do it then, he does it maybe like
it doesn't matter,
6 months later or something. It's still crazy, isn't it, when you think about it?
Yeah. Directly after Berlanga, is the aim now just to be busy, to be fighting? Just
give me the best fights.
Give you the best fights.
Give me the best fights. Give me the best fights. The biggest fights. Because now I've kind of had a taste for it. I want to be there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I want to go there and build myself up again. And even though it's not, I wouldn't say it's pressure because I'm past that point now, but even though you're going into this fight and everyone, you get a load of opinions saying, oh, don't take it, it's too soon. It's too much of a dangerous fight. That's what boxing's about. That's what life's about, taking risks, you know what I mean? That's where you kind of separate the men from the boys. And it's only fair to give the boxing fans the entertainment they deserve.
Mm.
And I'm willing to do that.
Yeah. Last couple, is it, do you find it, you're a deeply religious man?
Yep.
Is it difficult in any way juggling the two, boxing and religion?
No, not really.
No.
Not really, nah, not at all. Not at all. And with myself and my religion, I do a lot in private as well. Because a lot of people nowadays, they see the likes of Khabib and they see the likes of Beterbiev and they feel like they have to like kind of express religion through boxing. But at the same time, don't realize what you can do is do it in private anyway. If you're really and truly a religious man, you'll do that in private. It's part of who you are. It's part of who I was before I was even boxing.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean? So I understand you have a platform and you can express it via the platform. But at the end of the day, I like to kind of keep them separate because when I'm away from boxing, it reminds me of who I am, who I truly am, and who I want to be.
Does that faith give you sort of encouragement when it gets hard?
It does.
You know, do you find yourself praying during fights?
Yeah, always.
Do you
always,
really?
Yeah, always. And it gives you that sense of, it's that little voice in your head you can speak to when you feel like you can't speak to anyone else about anything. And when you're in the trenches and when you're kind of in a low or high point of your life, that is your happy medium. Like regardless of what's happening, you've got God.
Mm. Still plenty of time left in your career.
Yeah,
and I'm asking this question early, but how would you like to be remembered when it's all said and done?
Someone who uses platform to help others.
Yeah.
And I always give that answer. Always give that answer because when you come from where I've come from, when you come from what I've been through, and you surpass your aspirations to how much I have, I think the only other thing that the only other reasoning behind it that I kind of tell myself sometimes is you're here because God's given you a platform to help others. And like I said again, that doesn't need to be publicized at all. It doesn't need to be publicized. But as long as I know in my heart of hearts, I've done something to help whoever needs help, I'll be a happy man as long as I can be remembered for that. Happy days.
inspiring youngsters, being a proper role model.
Yeah.
All of the above.
I always try, even like my old amateur club, I'm always helping them however they need help. And not always in boxing, whatever it is, any sports, education, however I can help these youngsters or, like I said, whoever needs help, I'm there.
Hamzah, you're an absolute gentleman. Everyone at First Round TV, obviously including myself, wishes you all the very best.
Thank you very much.
Moving forward. Good luck, mate.
It's been a pleasure.
Cheers, mate.
Thank you.